Hello Unreal users, Alexi, your Unreal guide, and we are continuing with our Lightmass baking in order to get photorealistic results with Unreal Engine. As the continuation of a previous tutorial, we did some Lightmass density adjustments. We also added some Lightmass portals. We also added importance volume and a neutralizing post-processing volume for our camera so it will not ramp up, and we added some reflections in every room. All right, so this is the preparation. Now we can start adding lights. The first light that I'm going to bring is directional light, which is emphasizing the sun. So I'm going to put it here, and I'm going to go to the lit mode right here, and I'm gonna position it in order to have more light coming into my space, something like this. Maybe I'll give it a little angle so it will look a bit interesting. All right, now in this light I'm going to adjust the intensity. So somewhere here, let's do 26 lux, and let's do some soft angle here. Temperature, as you know, with the temperature we can change the color, so somewhere around this 4400. And we're gonna adjust indirect lighting intensity here. We're gonna do it in the second build. All right, so let's do one build without adjusting this value. That way we'll be able to understand what it actually does. Okay, now second light I want to bring in is my skylight. And in this skylight, I'm actually going to switch it to static. And we're going to load HDRI here later on, do some adjustments. But for now, let's do a bake without that. So I'm going to disconnect it from affecting the world. That way it will not affect, and we will only get a build that comes from that light here. Okay, yeah, I want a lot of it coming into the room, something like this. I'm gonna do some sunset. Okay, now let's go ahead and adjust our rendering settings, basically Lightmass baking settings. Okay, so we're gonna click on the world settings here. If you don't have that panel, you can bring it from window world settings and open up Lightmass, and let's do some adjustments. So this we're gonna put to 0.5 static Lightmass level scale. And if you read some documentary, this parameter of a static level scale is connected to the indirect lighting quality. So the indirect lighting quality multiply static level scale gotta be at least 1. So this needs to be 2 here. I'm putting 4 in order to get a little bit slightly more precise. So basically, you know, breaking the rules, it's not such a bad thing as long as you know what you're breaking. All right, so this will give me a nice quality. Now, number of indirect light bounces and the skylight bounces I'm going to put into 10. So we'll have a lot of those bouncing lights. You know, the light comes in, it bounces one time, then second time, you know, and keep bouncing around the scene. So the indirect light and the skylight, I want to have them both at 10. And here I'm not gonna do anything except I'm going to adjust the detail cell size. Okay, volume light map detail cell size. So we have adjusted our light maps, and in every light map we have those little squares, and in them the calculation goes per 200. If I lower it to 90, so it will be a little bit denser in those light maps. It will give me a little bit more precise result, you know, small, nice, fine ambient occlusion around the objects, around the corners. Now we need to also adjust the packed shadow map texture size. Let's bring it to 4D96. So we will have nice big maps. And let's see what else we gotta do here. This parameter, compress light maps, I'm gonna leave it on. For VR, it's very good. It's gonna compress light maps. But if you do any video production, this probably needs to be off. If you do any high quality video or stills. So we're gonna leave it on for this sake of idea, in order to have everything, you know, go a little quicker, and you know, if we want to go into VR, we can shoot it right away. But just remember, for the final production, if you do any production light mask baking for video, we're gonna turn this off. All right, so we're gonna turn this off later on, but for now, we're gonna leave it on. All right, and that's about it. That's about it in this one. So let's go ahead and make our build. Let's bake it and see what we get. The bake probably gonna take around you know, between 5 and 10 minutes, depends on your computer. So I'm gonna use preview, and I'm gonna click bake light only. All right, light bake is complete. We've got some overlapping here with the weld. We gotta go make a list of those and double check them. But this is not really crucial things. We can see here the overlaps are very, very small. Okay, here's our build. I mean, it's looking all right with one light only, and but we can see that the dark areas are very, very dark. The shadows are pretty dark. We don't get nice glow here like we would expect. We get a little bit, but not too much. All right, so but the ambient occlusion looking pretty good. Now let's add this parameter here, indirect light intensity. This is the secondary bounce. You know, like in Viri we have the primary bounce, the secondary bounce. We can do irradiance matte light cache or brute force. This is the secondary bounce. That means we get first direct hit, and then how many times it keeps bouncing inside our scene from that particular light. So let's put 10. You can do more than that, but for this sake of idea, let's do 10 and just see how this works. I'm gonna click build light only, and again, let's execute it and see what we get. All right, and the second build is done. And here we go. We can see everything is light up. Pretty good. We have nice glow from the bounce. Nice natural glow here going on. But obviously, this is a little bit too much. Okay, it's way too bright. But at least now you guys know what's this indirect lighting intensity. It's very important parameter in order to get nice lighting, nice photorealistic lighting in your scene. So I'm gonna lower it down to 2. I already did a couple of tests. So in my previous tests, number 2 was good, but again, it depends on your scene. If you have big openings or small openings, I have big ones, so I don't have to bounce a lot. But if you have smaller openings, you probably want to go higher. You can go all the way up to 30, 40, 50. You have to do some tests. Okay, so I'm going to disconnect that because we already set it up. And I'm gonna go to my map here for the sky. And I'm gonna do here, if we switch it to, let's see, stationary or movable. Okay, let's do this. I'm gonna activate that effect world. Of course, I need to have it on static, and I'm going to bring the intensity to 10, and I'm going to drag my HDRI map. I have HDRI that's got nice color tones. Just gonna drag and drop it here. And I'm gonna select SLS specific cube map and select this map that I just brought in. So this map got really nice colors, and those are the colors that I want to use. I got this map from my friend Karim. Shout out to my best digital friend. We haven't seen each other, but we're talking and exchanging good info. So thanks a lot for this HDRI map. He made them himself. So that's a very cool, unique HDRI map that I'm going to use for the sake of idea. Okay, now I'm activating the effect world and disconnecting effect world from my sun. That way I'm gonna test just this HDRI ambience colors and ambience presence of this map. Okay, so let's do another build and see how our skylight contributing to our scene. All right, and the ambience was baked. You can see we have nice colors coming in, very soft lighting. This is just the ambience light that we need in order to get more photorealistic result from the skylight, from the HDRI map. Stuff is pretty good, getting those nice bluish tones. Okay, so with balancing this, we can go and select our direct light and add it to the scene, effect world. And now we can finally bake our entire scene with a direct light and a skylight, the ambience, and see what we've been doing all this time, spending so much time isolating and tweaking those lights. Now it's time to bring both of them together and see how our scene looks with direction light and skylight. All right, and the build is complete. Let's go check it out. It's slightly overexposed. It's looking good, but it's a little bit too bright. So I'm actually going to lower my intensity of the sky here. I'm going to put it on 3. I'm gonna put it on 3. And just a little bit too overexposing here on the sides. It's just not looking too realistic. So lower your intensity of the HDRI map here, and let's see if our sky is on 2. That's good. And let's do our final build in order to make sure everything is well balanced. Okay, that's the procedure. First tweak your indirect light, then your skylight, then build them together, and if something needs to have additional tweaking, like this ambient occlusion map. That's what we're gonna do. All right, so I'm gonna click build light only, and let's see what we get. All right, and the build was complete. Now it's looking slightly darker. We don't get those overexposed areas too much. We have nice soft shadows, of course, minus the artifacts. If we put it on the lighting mode here, you can see this stuff got pretty cool ambient occlusion going on, nice and soft. And we're also getting colors from our skylight. I like this corner here, especially the light is gathering, the photon's gathering pretty well in those dark areas. And again, we're just using the preview mode. Okay, if you want to get high quality and do high quality tests, it's going to take probably a few hours, but you got to go here to production, switch it to production, and click build. All right, now in the next tutorial, I'm going to show you how we can add HDRI image in order to have photorealistic background for our loft. So if you want to learn how to add HDRI images, join me for the next tutorial. Thanks a lot for watching. This is Alex. You'll be here again. Ciao.